Okay, so this song starts off with a single strum on the G chord, but we've got to make sure we're using specific fingers for this. We're going to use our second finger on the second fret of the A string, third finger on the third fret of the low E string, and then your fourth finger is going to be on the high E string on the third fret. So you're going to have a G chord like this, okay? Now the reason we need to play it like that is because we need to use our first finger on the next note. So as soon as you've given it a strum, you're going to remove that fourth finger and you're going to put your first finger on the first fret of the high E string and simply play that note on its own. Then you're going to play your little finger on the third fret of the B string. Then you're going to hit the G string on its own and then hit the high E string open. Okay, and the key here is to hold the second and third fingers on as you do all this, so the chord rings out. This is how it's going to sound. Okay, now, so you can see it's important that those notes are still ringing out. It's also important that you don't just strum that first G chord regularly like this. Okay, in a song like this, you're going to want to slow that strum down, okay, so you can hear the individual strings coming through. So it's going to sound like this. You can hear those strings coming through a bit nicer if you just slow that arm down slightly. Here's how this first bit's going to go. So the next part is what I like to call the main chord part of the song, because it keeps coming back to this. I'm going to show you a simple version first, and then I'll show you the more advanced way of playing it. But first of all, it is just based on 4 chords. First of all, you've got C, okay, just your standard C major chord. Next, you've got C/B. So you're going to keep your first finger where it was, okay, on C, on the first fret of the B string. And then your second and third fingers are going to be on the second frets of the A and D strings, like this. And you're just going to hit the top 5 strings. Okay, so that chord is called C/B. Next up, what we've got is a chord that a lot of people find tricky. It's called B flat, and it's a bar chord. I'm going to bar the first fret of the guitar, and I'm with my first finger, but with my third finger, I'm going to be barring the third fret and pushing down on the D, G, and B strings. Okay. Now you might want to play it like this with your third finger barred. Some people, including Badly Drawn Boy, I think use the little finger there, just whatever's more comfortable for you. And if you really struggle with this chord, you can always just throw in a power chord instead, which won't quite sound as good, but it will still fit. And then the fourth chord is going to be an F major 7 chord. So your first finger is going to again be on that first fret of the B string. Your second finger is going to be on the second fret of the G string. And then your third and fourth fingers are going to be on the third frets of the A and the D strings, like this, okay? And you, again, just hit the top 5 on this chord. Okay, so those are the basic chords to this part. And I'll just strum through this. The rhythm we're going to go for is just going to be down, down, up, down, up, down, up. You'll notice I've got those downs and ups, but also it is in a swing rhythm. So it's not just down, down, up, down, up, down, up. You've got to give it that bouncy kind of swing feel by going like this. Down, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay? And you can play around with the downs and ups now and again, as it will in the original track. Sometimes it will simply just be down, down, up, down, up. Just play around with it and see what sounds good to you. But anyway, here's what the main chord part is going to sound like, just with these simple basic chords. okay? And it does that twice at that point. But if you want it to sound more authentic, like the original, you can add in some extra little parts. For example, when Badly Drawn Boy plays this, he will put on a C chord, as we did. He'll go down, down, up, but then he'll move his third finger onto the 3rd fret of the low E string and play that G note, and then do another up on the higher strings. Then he'll play an open A note. Then keeping those fingers we've already got on, he's going to strum upwards again, okay? So it's going to sound like this. Okay, I'll do that again. Then the next part on that C/B, again, it's very similar to what we were doing before, but simply just going to take the first finger off halfway through the bar like this. Okay, to give it that kind of major 7 kind of feel. So then when it comes to that B flat chord, what you can do is you can hit the F note halfway through, okay, on the low E string. You can either do this by putting on the bar chord as usual and just simply moving your first finger down to that 1st fret of the low E string, or you can use your thumb, which again, watching live videos, I think this is what our Badly Drawn Boy himself does. So it's going to go like this. Halfway through the bar, just pick out that F note on the low E string. And then finally, when it comes to that F major 7 chord, right at the end, you're going to throw in a little kind of G chord. Okay, so it's going to go like this. Okay, so we're going from that F major 7, again, keeping that first finger on where it was. Right at the end, you're going to put your 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, and you're going to put your 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the low E string. Okay, so it's almost like the bottom of a G chord, and you just throw that in right at the end to segue back to the C chord. Okay, so it's going to go like this. Brings you back to that. All right, so in total, the more complicated way of playing this, but more true to the original, is going to be this. Okay, and then it's going to play that, does that twice in a row from there. Right, so when it's done that part, that chord part twice in a row, whether you want to play the simple part or the more complex part, it now goes on to a few other chords, okay? So what we've got here, rhythm-wise, you're just going to go down, down, up on these next 4 chords. And it's going to be G, B flat again, okay? Then F major 7, then D minor. Down, down, up on each of them like this. Okay, and then the part just before the singing comes in is going to be a G, a full bar of G, and a full bar of G7 there. Okay, so that whole bit is going to sound like this. So that is basically the whole intro of the song. Next up is going to be the first verse, of course, and what you've got again is the main chords. Okay, so it's going to go that C, C/B, then into B flat, then that F major 7 is going to be that times 2 again. Then again, going to do this. Same thing as the intro, really, without that first little part. So it's going to go back to after you've done that main bit times 2, it's going to go. Now this next bit is kind of what you'd call the chorus. It's a really well written song, really, because it's hard to define what you'd call these parts, because this is quite short. It's just going to go like this. A minor, E minor, half a bar of E minor, and then that F major 7 again, like this. Okay, and yeah, it just does that once this time around. When it comes back to it, it will do it more times in a row, but we'll get to that. And then it's going to be back to the main chord part again. So back to C/B and so on. It's back to that again. Now remember, if you get confused about the order of this song, then you can just listen to it, okay? Just listen to the original a few times, try and play along with it, and you'll pick it up that way. That's the best way, really, when it comes to song structure. Kind of just figuring it out yourself, even though I'm going to go through it all in order here. All right, so it does that main chord part twice again. Then it does it twice again because it's into the second verse. Okay, so again, same thing, times 2. Then again, it's going to go to the G. This bit, I could call this kind of like the pre-chorus. It's going to go G, B flat, F major 7, D minor, G, G7. But then it's into that chorus part again. This time it is going to be times 2, and it's going to have 2 bars of C in between. So let me just explain. It's going to be A minor, E minor, F major 7, and then you're going to put 2 bars of C here. This is the main something to talk about part. Then it does that twice, okay? So it's going to go back to A minor again, E minor, F, but then this time it just does go back to the main part again. All right, so that whole part this time, that chorus is going to go like this. So 2 bars of C in the middle, back to A minor, back into the main chord part. So yeah, after that chorus, it's going to be back to our main part, C, to C/B, B flat, F. It's going to go back to that bit times 2. Then it's going to go into the instrumental section, which is going to go from the A minor chord to the E minor chord, and then the D minor chord. So it's going to do half a bar on A minor, down, down, up, half a bar on E minor, full bar on D minor. I'm going to do that times 3 like this. Then it's going to go back to G for a bar and then G7 like before. Okay, and then that brings us into another verse, standard verse with the C and C/B, into the, what I call the pre-chorus, back to G, B flat, F major 7, D minor, G, G7, just like we did before. Then it's going to go into yet another chorus from that A minor chord like this. Same as the previous chorus where you've got 2 bars of C in between, back to A minor, E minor, F major 7. After that it goes back to the main chords again, and then right at the end you've got another instrumental part. We're going to go back to A minor, E minor, D minor, A minor, E minor, D minor, times 3, so 1 more. Now it's going to go for another G to G7, but this time it's going to slow down as you play. That happens on quite a few songs, this. So instead of just going, it's going to go, it's going to slow down as you play it like this. As soon as you strum that G7, it's back to the intro part again, okay? So it's back to this, with your little finger there. Okay, and then you can just end off on a C chord like that.